Good afternoon, students. If you haven't met me yet, my name is Mr. Verzat. Verzat. And, you know, it's kind of a weird last name. Don't worry about it. You can call me Mr. V if you'd like. So, welcome to cartooning. I love this class. The reason why is because I'm a cartoonist. I'm a cartoonist at heart. I started drawing cartoons when I was 6 years old, and I didn't stop. And I kept doing it, and I took art classes to learn the fine art side of it, and this is what came of it, this disastrous abomination in front of your face, right here. So I hope you guys are excited to have some fun. I love this kind of medium. It's great. I approach it from an academic and kind of a formal standpoint. It's a very fun thing to do, but I'm very focused on the fundamentals. So how's the class work? So who should be in this class? Well, the reason I ask that question is because it's an advanced course. It's designed to branch off of Design 1. Well, the students who should be in this course are those who passed my Design 1 class with a C or better. Also, transfer students or other students who did not have me as Design 1 have done a portfolio review with me in advance last semester. But if you don't fall within those two categories, what you'll need to do is go grab an add drop slip and switch courses, because this builds off of a foundation of fundamentals. And if you don't know those fundamentals, really you won't have much of a chance in this course. It is a challenging course. We do a lot in here and we cram a lot in your brains in just a semester. So without that background knowledge, it's going to be a major uphill climb for you. So what will we be doing? Well, I'm going to teach you the simple stuff first. Even though you've already learned those Art 1 fundamentals, there are fundamentals in cartooning that build off of that. And I'm sure that those of you who had me in Design 1 can see some of those fundamentals in these pictures here. So I'll teach you the simple stuff. But then we're going to get a sketchbook. You guys are going to have a sketchbook, and in that sketchbook, every week, what you're going to do is fill that sucker up. You'll fill an entire page or 2 pages, and what you're going to be doing is what's called a form study. You'll be looking at arms, legs, animals. The purpose behind that is that I can teach you the concept. You need to learn the body mechanic, the physical practice of doing it, and get it so it's reflex. And we can't do that in a single class period. There's no human way to do that. You can only do that by logging in the hours and hours and hours over time of practicing with your body. And that's what a sketchbook is for. And so you'll get a sketchbook, and every week you'll fill that sucker up with form studies, just like these. In order to do cartooning, you need to have an intuitive understanding of the human form. And so every day as a warm-up, we're going to spend sometimes 5 minutes doing gesture drawing poses, where students get up and we all draw that student. Everybody's going to get a chance to pose, maybe even the instructor. So that'll be a basic warm-up. I'm going to teach that to you. If you can get good at that, you can basically get to the point where you don't need to look at anything as you draw. I'm going to teach you guys advanced techniques, such as advanced composition. Believe it or not, there's actual rules on where you put things in a picture and why and what they do to that picture. We're going to go over that. The beautiful thing about cartooning is that it communicates mainly through image. Words are optional. It started with the Egyptians and a whole bunch of ancient tribes in Mesopotamia. They would set these pillars up that have pictures on them to warn people whose territory this is and why, and it would all be just in those little pictures engraved on stone. Cartooning is something that's ingrained in our very being, the ability to communicate through image, and we're going to do exercises like that. For example, teaching you guys how to communicate the 5 senses. We're also going to learn political cartooning. In Art 1, you learned how to apply symbolism to a piece in order to give it meaning. And political cartooning is just that, communication through image. Words are optional. And it's a great way to do scathing commentaries, political satire. It doesn't have to be about politics, just current events or something that's going on in the world. We're going to learn how to do character analysis. I'm going to have you guys create your own unique character, but first we need to take apart other characters to know how to make a character. And so we're going to look at all sorts of different angles from them. Where do they come from? What's their personality like? What are the challenges and events in their lives that made them the way they are? How would they respond to certain scenarios that we create for them? That'll determine if a character is written well or not. We're going to take all that and we're going to do studio simulated character creation. We're actually going to have studio grade standards for production, what actually goes on in a professional studio. And we're going to make character sheets with what's called a turnaround. And we're going to take our characters and put them in actual little comic strips. And depending on how well written and well fleshed out your character is, will determine how well written and well fleshed out your communication through your comic strip is. And finally, we're going to study a little bit into the Eastern cartooning manga. It's very popular, really kind of a unique cartooning style compared to American styles. We're going to compare and contrast those, study that technique, and get a well-rounded look at it. You'll also learn how to present and talk about your work. Part of being in a creative environment is feeding off of each other. So we're going to talk about our work, and we're going to share what we do, and we're all going to grow off of each other. And part of being a good artist is to be able to communicate and talk about your work, defend your work, prove why you did certain things and why you didn't. And you learn about your work more through communicating about it. So what do you need for this course? Well, there's a $10 lab fee, and that covers all the supplies you're going to use, such as the Bristol board that we draw on, your sketchbooks, drafting tools, printing supplies, and so on. So you have 5 school days to get that in. If by the end of the 5 school days it's not in, you'll be able to watch, but you won't be able to use the class supplies and participate with us. And since you need those supplies to do your projects to get a grade, you'll want to get that in as quick as possible. Also, in order to participate in this class, you will need a computer at home and an internet connection at your home. If you don't have either of those two, what you'll need then is a DVD player and a television. Well, why do you need those things? Well, you'll find out a little bit later. Also, you need to come prepared every day with a pencil and a notebook. Basically, to come prepared, you need your equipment, and an organized mind makes for organized production, which finalizes in very organized work. What else do you need? Well, once again, this stems off of Design 1, so I'm just going to shoot through really quick the different techniques that we learned in Design 1 that you will be using in this course that you need to have not only knowledge of, but have mastered up to this point. Mastery meaning it's intuitive now. You do it without thinking about it. And those techniques are value, specifically a light source, highlight, midtone, and shade, and also cross-hatching and hatching. You also need to have a very, very in-depth understanding of pre-drawing, because in cartooning, most of the time, you're never looking at other things. You're building things out of your mind rather than looking at reference. That includes basic form assembly, squares, shapes, and triangles, putting those together to make things. You need to also know how to manipulate those forms to make unique forms. The overhand and versus the detail hand pencil hold. The pencil pressure scales. You'll need to know all your pre-production tools. Pre-production is a big part of cartooning. That includes thumbnails, the rule of thirds for composition, webbing for coming up with ideas and such, and the basic production workflow. That's going to be on top of all of your rubrics. That's just the concept stage, pre-production, production, post-production, and wrap-up. Same process that we did in Art 1. You'll need to know linear perspective. That includes what's a horizon line, what's a vanishing point, what's 1 and 2 point perspective, why would you use those, and so on. You also need to know basic landscape. That's form overlap, atmospheric perspective. Things get hazier and dimmer the further away they get, and also foreshortening of your planes. You'll need to know basic color theory, since we're going to use color in here. That's warms versus cools, complementary shading. If you're looking at this and going, what the heck are those techniques? Well, are you rusty? Are you a transfer student? Didn't have me as your original teacher? Well, don't worry. All my stuff is on YouTube. You can go back and look at those screencasts. You can go and print off my documents, the Frayer documents for all of that. You can brush up on your skills. Did you take me for Design 1? Don't remember it? That's okay. It'll come back since you already learned it. So just go ahead and brush up. You can find it on YouTube under Hardened Design Class. And there are several playlists on there. Go back to the Design 1 and go back to the demos. YouTube. Is this a flipped class? Yes, it is. That means that for homework, you watch the instruction, write me a short summary so that it sticks to your brain. That leaves class time for practice. That leaves class time for one-on-one with you and me as you work. And so you get deeper learning and you grow more. So the concept is you show up to class ready to go. You know the material, and then we work on the material because you watched the lecture, you watched the instruction or the demonstration at home. And since it's art, it's fun stuff to watch. It's not like you're watching some stuffy old guy talking on a screen with just a talking head. No, I'm doing stuff. I'm showing you pictures while I'm doing it. So that's understanding the concept. Class is where you practice. You get more class time for your projects, since once again it's a lab course, and you get deeper learning. So for further info, for example, procedures, quality standards for work, what are the minimum acceptable standards of quality in your work that I'll take for a grade, and also the grading policies and such. It's all in your syllabus. Go ahead and refer to that. It breaks it all down. That applies to all my courses. So I hope you found this helpful. Welcome to my cartoon class. This is going to be a blast. It's a fun course, and I love it. And I'm really excited that you're here. Again, look at those requirements in order to even be in this class. If you don't fall under those requirements, just grab an add-drop slip, meet those requirements at a later date in your academic career, and then join me up later. All right, I look forward to working with you. Bye.